into double figures now. 11 seconds, 11.5 seconds as it crossed the line last time around. That's 772 laps for the GTLM leaders. It's the biggest gap that's been for a long, long time.
Well, they've only got 4 laps to complete, and then they've reached the overall record, would you believe? He's on 773 there as he's just ticked by. So 3 more laps for the GTLM class, and they will have broken the 1982 record of 775. GTD battle still ongoing, gap remaining pretty much the same there on about 0.8 of a second, and it seems to be the case that Bertolotti has this in hand. He's under pressure, no doubt about it. He's got Jerome Blakemollen's bright white coloured Mercedes AMG GT in his mirrors. Cars 11 is the Lamborghini, and remember, this is the car that put in a time in qualifying that would have had it third on the GTD grid, but it was a penalty infraction that dropped the car to the back of the field. And great tactics and great driving from all of the number 11 crew. Mirko Bertolotti finishing the car, but all credit to Rolf van Eycken, Rick Breukers and Frank Pereira, because they've had pretty much sterling stints. There's been no weakness in any of that driver lineup whatsoever. And there it is, that's the GTD battle over, guys, because into the pits has come Blakemollen. He's rolled the dice, no more. He's had to call in, and he rolls down the pit lane now. His team await. There's the board being waved. It's only fuel going in, no tyres. So the refueler goes on. And as that occurs, the Bertolotti Lamborghini is already into the kink on the infield, now into the braking area of the right-hand western horseshoe, gaining ground, and Blakemollen peels off the pit road. He's on the pit exit roadway. That will bring him onto the track just inside the...
And I think you should just about hang on to third place. I think the second place car will be Alvaro Parent. Has he gone through? I think he must have gone through.
So he's down to third, yeah.
So the gap between the first and second place cars is now about 25 seconds, which is pretty much the same as it's been for, well, as long as I can remember, going back several hours. So the leading Lamborghini and Acura have been pretty much running in lockstep in terms of lap times, at least.
After 800 laps completed here at the 56th running of the Rolex 24, you're tuned to RS2, IMSA Radio, part of the Radio Show Limited network of channels, live trackside here from the Daytona International Speedway. Don't forget the flag fall, the checkered flag being displayed is merely the end of the race. We'll have a full chance to discuss what we've experienced over the last 24 hours during our Michelin post-race tech show. Hashtag Michelin PRT to get involved with that. Fire your tweets to @RSL_studio and to @Radio Le Mans, but make sure you include the hashtag Michelin PRT. And we're also looking for your Spirit of the Race award as well, a typical award, a usual award that we hand out part of our IMSA Radio and RadioLeMans.com coverage, our RS2 and RS1 coverage through the course of the year. And with every race we also crown a Spirit of the Race award. Need not just go to a driver, could be a team, could be an effort to get a car fixed perhaps, could be something entirely different. And with a lack of cautions, IMSA officials are certainly up there with the potential to win that for just letting everybody race.
Yeah.
801 laps completed. Philippe Albuquerque ahead of now Stuart Middleton. 5:31, and Middleton getting that lap back again. He is still inside that lead lap, is he, Stuart Middleton? The positions haven't changed back again.
He's less than a minute and a half behind him now.
Excellent.
And he in turn is only 27 seconds ahead of Colin Brown, who's brought that gap down quite a lot. Colin's still a lap behind the overall leader, I think. I'm not sure where he is on the racetrack at the moment. Pretty sure he is. Yeah, he must be. but he's half. The gap has come down from almost a minute after the last round of pit stops to half a minute.
10 minutes to go.
Excuse me.
No, excuse me.
27.4 as they come across the line.
27.4.
Second to third.
Okay, so that is Stuart Middleton in the 31 Wheeling Engineering car and Colin Brown in the 54 Core Autosport Orica. Just under a minute then between the 31 and the 54, and that is second and third overall. Fourth place, Will Owen in the 32 United Autosports Ligier, having completed 797 laps. And we have broken the distance record for the GTLMs as well, because now we're at lap 776 for Ryan Briscoe and Joey Hand, and that's 12.1 seconds the gap between the two Ford GTs. But not only have we smashed the previous distance record for the overall class, but one of the subclasses, in inverted commas, the fastest of the GTs, also gets there too. And that's due entirely to Ford GTs just being bulletproof, it would seem, rocking around throughout the night, barely missing a beat, and they've been inseparable for most of the time as well. I mean, talking tenths of seconds between the two Ford GTs for the main part of this, but that gap's now been opened up to 12 seconds between Ryan Briscoe and Joey Hand. GTD, headed by Mirko Bortolotti, on course for Lamborghini's first ever 24-hour victory, and with a Dubai 24 hours to forget after they had a succession of punctures. I think it was 3 to kick off their race for Grasser Racing Team in the Middle East. The 11 car on course now with this 22.5 second margin over Alvaro Parent's Acura.
Did I hear the statistic that Lamborghini have never won a 24-hour race?
Yeah.
So another bit of history potentially.
Yeah, indeed.
We've only got to wait another 8 minutes for that.
I know, and that, to my knowledge, that's not just limited to the Huracan shape of car. It's throughout Lamborghini's vast history of racing, but yet not to this date, having taken a 24-hour victory, albeit with a very Audi-type engine. But you know, that's just the kind of situation we're in at the moment. It's certainly a chassis built in Italy still. The Raging Bull resplendent on the front of that GRT Lamborghini Huracan, the team from Austria who go all around the world now to find their endurance racing. Also just hearing from Diana Binks down in as part of our Continental Tire pit lane crew that the 23 car is back in the race again, so they're continuing on regardless. United Autosports, obviously the 32 car will net them a great result here, considering this is their first Rolex 24. Fourth place for the 32 car, but the machine that's grabbed all the headlines in the lead up to this race, by virtue of one of the drivers being Fernando Alonso. Sadly, that 23 car nowhere near the amount of laps that's been completed by the sister machine, and has had several visits behind the wall. It's had punctures, it's had a braking. In fact, I think the braking issues hit the car on 2 separate occasions, because Fernando Alonso was struggling to get the car stopped into turn 1 and managed to do the first sector in under 10 seconds, purely because he did none of the infield, and then the car came down pit road. So it spent a long portion of its race in that United Autosports garage. 6 minutes to go. Action Express on the very cusp of a third victory here in the Rolex 24. And it's looking more and more likely that it'll be a 1-2 finish for their Mustang Sampling and Wheeling Engineering sponsored cars.
Outstanding engineering, outstanding pit wall work, working that fuel strategy to the absolute minute. They pitted for their final fuel stop right on, I think it was 38.5 minutes to go, which is just on the cusp of their fuel window, what we've seen. Early this morning we saw the number 5 car and indeed the number 31 car just easing their pace, just bringing those fuel figures back into line and back calculating from the end of this race to that point, and it was quite genius to watch. And now where we can see where we are, we truly do see the genius in that calculation there from the Action Express team. We've just ticked by 5 minutes to go now. 804 laps completed by the leader. In first place in the GTLM class, still the number 67 Ryan Briscoe driven Ford GT, and he's got just under 13 seconds from the second Ford GT of Joey Hand. And the GTD class, car number 11, it's the Lamborghini of Mirko Bortolotti, Grasser Racing.
Watching number 7, Acura Team Penske of Ricky Taylor coming off the turn 4 up towards a tri-oval, and he is only about 7 seconds or so ahead of Juan Pablo Montoya, who I think probably wants to redress that balance. Where is Montoya? He's already gone. Right, okay, missed that. Yeah, it's just 5 seconds between those two, heading in the final couple of laps.
Yeah, and both cars are on the infield section now, roughly around the International Horseshoe, having just completed their 789th laps.
And they've completed more than a dozen laps more than the old distance record here as well.
Yeah.
So the top 10 are probably going to have already eclipsed. Well, no, the top 15 have eclipsed that mark. Pretty remarkable.
And that shouldn't be ignored either. The might that is Team Penske, bringing 2 Acura DPIs to the Rolex this year. Their first year bringing Acura to the race, and we've seen Acura, of course, represented in GT Daytona, but great to bolster the prototype ranks to a full 20 entries for this year's race. And they haven't had it all their own way, but certainly Helio Castroneves' car at times very easily, I was going to say, taking the fight to the Cadillacs. What I mean is the Acura has shown very similar speed to the might of the Cadillac and the Dallara chassis. So we're therefore set for a close season between those two cars, particularly on the shorter distance races. I think Acura paying at the moment for their reliability problems, but there's always going to be a teething issue, I suppose, in the early stages of a campaign, and Roger Penske and his crew will get that ironed out come the middle of 2018. I was going to say the end of the season, but they'll be sorted out, I'm sure, and they will have learnt an awful lot of stuff.
I'd say.
Indeed. Well, they've got a couple of months to go away now, maybe do a little bit more development work, but a 24-hour race doesn't half build up the data. They can work out how to fix those little niggly problems as well on the fly far better. Inside the final 3 minutes now, leader Philippe Albuquerque is about to come through the tri-oval with 2 minutes left on the clock, so I should say he's about to start his penultimate lap here, Jeremy Shaw.
Indeed, and he's just been overtaken by number 54 car of Colin Brown. That means we now have 3 cars on the lead lap, because yes, it won't be white flag this time, it'll be next time, won't it? So he's still limping around. 1 minute 45 he's doing, 44s and 45s, the race leader Philippe Albuquerque, and Colin Brown now. Colin Brown's only 20 seconds behind Stuart Middleton for second position. Been a tremendous comeback drive by the number 84 team.
An historic race here at the Daytona International Speedway, kicking off yet another season of WeatherTech Sports Car Championship racing. Fabulous year in 2017, and we obviously always look forward to this race. It's the biggest event of the season that kicks things off, and Action Express Racing have had good form in the past. Likewise, Joao Barbosa and Christian Fittipaldi having taken victory on 2 separate occasions previously. Philippe Albuquerque has tasted the champagne at class level and already has a Rolex watch in his possession, but this is going to mean a whole lot more to take the overall victory in that number 5 Mustang sampling Action Express car. So looking very much like a 3rd victory for the Action Express outfit, but credit to Stuart Middleton, who's been sharing that 31 car with the rest of the regulars at Whelan Engineering Racing. Eric Curran, Mike Conway done a splendid job, and Felipe Nasser as well, with some lengthy stints during the night.
Yeah, and in GT Daytona, after making that late pit stop, can Jeroen Blekemolen get back onto the podium? He's only a couple of seconds behind Andrea Caldarelli at the wheel of the Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini.
So that's the principally black Lambo, number 48, as the white flag is displayed now for Philippe Albuquerque. And this will be 808 laps then completed very shortly by Philippe Albuquerque of Portugal, sharing with countryman João Barbosa and Brazilian Christian Fittipaldi. Two of those guys having won this race before. Philippe Albuquerque, as I say, with a class win already under his belt, with Stuart Middleton, by virtue of winning effectively a points competition through the course of the British motorsport season. He took British GT4 honours with Will Tregurtha in British GT, and Stuart Middleton getting this drive in the Wheel and Engineering Cadillac. I really don't think he came here expecting to finish on the podium, and indeed on the lead lap of this record-breaking race. It's dreams come true for the young man from Ashington in the northeast of England. Colin Brown flying the flag for the global LMP2 squad, with their Orica from Core Autosport in third position, ahead of the Ligier of United Autosports, and then this long line of further Oricas, the 78, the 85, the 99 and the 38 completing the top 8. Ford GT absolutely metronomic in their preparation. Remember, Chip Ganassi is the Grand Marshal this year at Daytona, as we look to NASCAR Turn 4 and await Philippe Albuquerque to cross the line after 24 hours and 808 laps. It's victory then to Action Express Racing. And to Philippe Albuquerque, João Barbosa and Christian Fittipaldi will wait for the Fords to cross the line in a moment or two as well. They're about 10 seconds apart between 67 and 66. But Diana Binks, I'm sure, is very close to Action Express Racing and ready to get some reaction for us. GTD still undecided for third position. It's tight between Caldarelli and Jerome Blake-Merlin. Here's Diana.
João, many congratulations. What does this mean to you? 2018, fantastic result.
What a start. That was like the longest hours in my life. We had quite some issues with the car, but man, this team is just amazing. It was just phenomenal. We were managing the pace, managing the car. It was definitely not easy, but man, what a win. It was a long time coming. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of these guys. Action Express, the whole Mustang sampling Cadillac program has been so phenomenal. It's I have no words. I'm super happy.
See, you're absolutely delighted and speechless. Congratulations to you and the team.
And Christian Fittipaldi, of course, very much a role as a driver, but also an organisation role this year as well, continuing that on as he steadily makes a step away from driving. We didn't get the change for third position in the end. It was tight at the line between Andrea Caldarelli in the 48 Lamborghini and the 33 Jerome Blake-Merlin Mercedes that required that late splash. We still haven't seen Mirko Bortolotti across the line, though, to confirm a win for the number 11 GRT Grasser crew, and they're going to be side by side, the two Austrian Lamborghini Huracans. That's a first win ever for Lamborghini as a mark in a 24-hour race to add to the history of the 56th running of this Daytona 24 hours. Straight back down to Diana Binks.
Christian, many congratulations. We've spoken to João. What does this mean to you and the team?
Well, I'm speechless right now. We were a baby in the car since, I don't remember, 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, it's unbelievable, unbelievable.
That last hour watching you was painful. I'm sure it was for you too.
Oh yeah, it was painful for everyone. I don't know, I'm very happy for the team, Cadillac, João, myself, and Philippe, especially after everything.
Well done.
That's Christian Fittipaldi with yet more reaction down at Mustang Sampling Racing. And the Lamborghinis formation finish there. The 19 car nowhere near the top 5, but nevertheless they'd found each other on that slowing down lap, and those photographs all important for Grasset Racing team. More reaction from Di in the pit lane?
Mike Conway, that was a close one today. You came in second.
Yeah, I mean, good 1-2 for the team. Yeah, I mean, all cars fought really hard for every position that they got. So, yeah, we'd obviously love to be winning as well, but great result for the team. Really happy. And yeah, I mean, these are so hard, these races, to just finish on the lead lap. So, all credit to the team and all their hard work.
You must be very proud. You all did an amazing job.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. Yeah, we all got to be happy with our efforts for sure. So, yeah, go and enjoy it now.
Well done.
Congratulations to Richard Westbrook. You said at the beginning of the month you wanted this race badly. You are a Daytona 24-hour winner. What does this feel like?
And what a race to do it in. I mean, you know, that was just insane. It was so intense, and no team orders, just going for it with our teammates, you know, our real mates. And yeah, it was weird, but it was really, really sweet. 1-2, can't get better than that.
You had to wait a year and a half for a victory. Is this worth it?
Definitely. I mean, we changed a lot over the winter. New tub. A lot of new crew members. And we just kept developing. It was a tough year last year, but what a way to come back. That's a real good bounce back.
We'll go to the victory lane so I can ask you what time it is all year long.
All right, you can.
So Richard Westbrook winning in the 67 car with Ryan Briscoe and with Scott Dixon. And let's have an opportunity to speak to a good friend of the Radio Show Limited network of channels, Rick Brokers, along with the rest of the crew at number 11. Rolf Eichen, Mirto Bortolotti and Frank Pereira become the first victory ever for a Lamborghini in 24 hours now with Diana Binks.
Rick, I can see you're all celebrating very highly here. Many congratulations on that. And obviously for Lamborghini, that's a huge result.
Yeah, it's really incredible. I mean, we pushed the whole race, and I'm very proud of the whole team. Everyone did an excellent effort, and we made no mistakes.